Hello. Welcome to the Math Connection. My name is Miss Lenz, and we are on our third video of all things quadratic. In the first one, I gave you the quadratic function in standard form. In the second one, I gave it to you in factored form. This is the third one, and I'm going to give you the function in vertex form. So let's take a look at that. Remember that vertex form is the form that we really like. It's the most, in my opinion, it's the best one. It tells us so many different things about a function. And here we go. Here is our function in vertex form. This is the best form. Why? Because it tells us so many things. So remember, our goal is to graph this and kind of like find all the things about this. So let's start. I'm going to grab a coordinate plane, and I want to start by putting on the graph what we do know, the things that we already know just by looking at this equation. So some things that we already know. We know the vertex. This is in vertex form, and this helps us to find the vertex very easily. So these two tell me my vertex. So this function is moved to the right 3 and down 2. Right 3 and down 2 means that the point 3, -2 is going to be my vertex. So I'm going to put that point on my coordinate plane. Over 3 and down 2, to the right 3 and down 2. Right there is going to be my vertex. Now, another thing that I know is I know whether this, first of all, I know it's a parabola because of this squared. That tells me this is going to have either a valley shape or a hill shape. Which one is it going to have? I can tell that by looking at the sign of this number that's in front. Since that's a +2, that means that this is going to be a valley. It is not going to be flipped over. It will not be a hill. So this point that I just put on the coordinate plane is the vertex, and everything needs to come up from there because that's going to be the lowest point since this is a valley. Okay? Now, let's talk about a couple more things that I know. Something else that I know is I know the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry, remember, goes right through my vertex. I'm going to draw it in green. It's going to go right through right here. That's going to be my axis of symmetry. And if I fold it on that piece of paper, the points on both sides are going to match up perfectly. So we want to write that as an equation. So x equals 3, where, not 8. X equals 3. Where x equals 3, that is going to be my axis of symmetry, and that is that vertical line that goes through a +3 on the x-axis. Now let's continue. Let's get a couple other things. We could finish graphing it from here, but let's find these other things before we actually finish graphing it. So this is what I know mostly from this vertex form. Another thing that I do know that could help me finish graphing this is this 2 in front. That's going to tell me that this is going to go up twice as fast as the regular size parabola. So the regular size one goes over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9, over 4 up 16, over 5 up 25. This is going to go up at twice the speed. So it's going to go over 1, not up 1, up 2, over 2, up 8, over 3, up 18. It's going to go up twice as fast. So it's going to be a very skinny parabola because it's going up much faster. And I could use that to finish graphing it, but we're going to find these other things first. So this is vertex form. Like I said, let's turn it to our other form so we can find some other things that we know. So let's start by finding, so we don't have a method for changing from vertex form straight into factored form. I like to call it, we have to pass through standard form before we can turn it into factored form. So let's do that. Let's change it into standard form first and take a look at what else we know because of that. So I'm just going to take my function here, 2 times x minus 3 squared minus 2, and we want to write this in standard form. And what that means is I need to get rid of my parentheses. So the first thing I need to do is I need to do this part right here. And if I am squaring x minus 3, that means that I'm taking x minus 3 times another x minus 3, and I'm going to FOIL that or distribute. So that part, just the red box, is going to give me x squared minus 3x minus another 3x plus 9. And I'm going to combine my like terms in the middle. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Now, that has to stay in parentheses this time because I can't forget that I have that 2 in front. I'm taking 2 times that entire thing. So I'm going to put that 2 back in front. I also have that minus 2 at the end. That can come down at the end. Now I have to keep going. I'm still not in standard form yet. I have to distribute this 2 into the parentheses. So I'm going to get 2x squared minus 12x plus 18. Still have that minus 2 at the end. And my last step is to combine those like terms. I'm going to get my y back. Y equals 2x squared minus 12x. Positive 18 minus 2 gives me a positive 16. This is standard form. And now let's use standard form to find out something about this function. Remember, standard form really helps us with finding the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is given to us by just this last number right here. This curve is going to cross the y-axis up 16 at the point 0, 16. So that's like way off my coordinate plane, but I'm going to put it on there anyways. I'm going to try or estimate. 10, I go up 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Just for my reference, it's going to cross way up there. It's going to cross my y-axis way up there. Let's also find our x-intercepts. But to find our x-intercepts, we have to have it in a different form. We have to have it in factored form. I have standard form right now. I want factored form. So I'm just going to take my standard form over here. 2x squared minus 12x plus 16. And to change it to factored form, we just need to factor. So we need to remember all the different methods that we learned for factoring. So the first one is, what can I take out of all of the terms? I noticed that there's a 2. I can take a 2 out of all 3 of those terms. So I'm going to do that. 2, and then I'm putting what's left in my parentheses. Okay, but I need to continue going because inside of this parentheses, I can go further. I can, I don't know, unfoil or defoil is what I've called it. So 2 numbers that multiply to 8 but add to negative 6, x minus 4 and x minus 2. Negative 4 times negative 2 gives me a positive 8. And if I add negative 2 and negative 4, I get that negative 6 in the middle. So these are my 2 factors. I'm still going to bring down that 2 and I'm going to keep my y equals. Now, remember, this is the time when we're just looking at each of those factors. We don't have to look at the 2 in this one because there's no x in it. So that doesn't even make any difference. We're only looking at the 2 that are inside of the parentheses. So x minus 4, and we're thinking, what minus 4 would give me a 0? What minus 4 equals 0? 4 minus 4 equals 0. So x equals 4 is one of my x-intercepts. So I'm going to plot that one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's one of them. That makes complete sense because remember the blue point is the lowest point. If I would have gotten a number that was like negative 8, that wouldn't make any sense. That would be like way over here, and that would be a really fat parabola. That doesn't make any sense. So this one does make sense. Let's keep that in mind. Does this make sense along the way? Our other one is gotten by the other factor. So I'm thinking, what minus 2 gives me 0? 2 minus 2 gives me 0. So x equals 2, or right here is my other x-intercept. And again, that makes complete sense because now what I have is I can just go, whoop. There is the rest of my graph. This is a skinnier graph than a normal size parabola. We found the x-intercepts, we found the y-intercepts, the axis of symmetry, and the vertex. The only thing we haven't found now is our maximum or minimum value. So remember, we decide, does it have a maximum or does it have a minimum by just thinking, is this a hill or is this a valley? This one's a valley. This has a very lowest point. That means it's going to have a minimum. And then to find the minimum value, that's like, what's the lowest number that's going to come out of here? Couple ways you can do that. First way is just by looking at this number when it's in vertex form, the very last number. The minimum value is a negative 2. That means no matter what I drop into this machine, the very lowest number that will come out of it is a negative 2. Another way we could have done that is just by looking at our vertex. Those are going to be the same numbers there. The y value of our vertex is what's coming out at that lowest point. Okay? So this was our third video about all things quadratics, kind of putting everything together. The next one is going to be a calculator version. So stay tuned for that. You can click on this link over here if you'd like to see that. Hit that subscribe button, please. And I hope to see you all soon.